Hello and welcome to Bubble Hearthing. I'm Bubble, and today we're going to be going over all of the white cards for the new Kaldheim set coming out, very Norse mythology inspired, coming out very soon. In fact, this is kind of late to the party here, but considering not a whole lot of pre-release things are going on, maybe we'll be okay. Maybe we'll give you some ideas towards making decks, or maybe it'll just be entertaining. Hey, who knows? But without further ado, because we're kind of on a time crunch to get these out before tomorrow, I don't know, maybe we'll see. We'll do what we can. Let's get things started. So again, all the white cards, we're going to be looking at things from like a constructed and a limited point of view. Beyond that, and well, it goes to two formats, very good. From a standard and limited point of view, not so much like older formats, not really too familiar with those, but without further ado, let us begin with Axgard Braggart. Here we go. So, what do we have here? 4 mana, 3/3. Boast. We're going to start off immediately with a new keyword mechanic here. So, Boast is an ability. You can see in the little reminder text there is you can pay whatever mana cost or whatever cost is associated with it, but you can only do it when the creature has attack this turn. You can do it on attack declaration, any point. So you can do that when blockers are declared, when like just before the damage step. You think you can do it like even during the damage step potentially, and if a creature survives, then you can do it afterwards as well. So you usually want to count on being able to do it the turn you attack with it. Not the turn that you attack with it, but you want to be able to do it when you attack, and before damage is kind of calculated, because who knows if your creature's going to live. Maybe that's usually when your opponent kind of saves a kill spell as well, because what if you're going to put a haster out there. So that's about Boast. Okay, also you can only activate it once per turn unless otherwise stated, which it does say that sometimes. See, the microphone's over there, so I gotta go like this, otherwise this doesn't really help too much. Now that we know what it's doing, let's see. So 4 mana, 3/3, pretty bad. Boast for 1 white, untap the creature and put a +1/+1 counter on it. Untap this creature, not any creature. That'd be pretty cool. So that's actually not bad. We're starting off with a pretty reasonable Boast ability on this one, because other ones are really kind of boring and like, what are you doing? Like, I have to attack in order to do this. It's also important to note it's not just your creature has to tap, it has to actually be attacking. Other things like whenever this creature gets tapped, do this. This is actually, you have to declare it as an attacker. Any old school fans out there, I think that was was it Meritum Siege or whatever, and Hero of Bladehold was notorious, also I think Sneak Attack, but maybe not, for putting in creatures that were tapped and attacking, but because you never declared them as attackers, they would not, if they somehow had a Boast thingy, they wouldn't work that way. Also, they wouldn't have to attack Gideon if he was on the board, going back in time. Anyway, so we're starting off a pretty nice one where you can actually untap your creature afterwards, or you can even do it like during combat, kind of like a pseudo vigilance effect, and it just keeps getting more powerful as it goes later on. So this is actually a very, very reasonable, very nice limited card. Certainly, I would definitely take this in a draft, no questions asked. I would not be upset to have this in my sealed draft or sealed deck. In standard, this is too much for white. White's really been struggling, and although it's all right, it's really too slow. I think there's more so going to be a like an Angels kind of life gainy deck going on, maybe even like a white weenie thing. And for white weenies, this is obviously too big. Usually the ceiling for creatures, at least in white decks, would be like a 3 CMC. You want to just have 1 drop, 2 1-drops, and then a 3-drop that come down. At least that's how it used to be back when History of Benalia was out there, and the 3-drop slot was just like so powerful. But nowadays, there are a decent amount of 1-drops in white, although the color is struggling to figure out who it does anymore. But I believe that either it's going to be like an Angels or like a little like down-to-earth thing. So Axgard Braggart, not so good in standard. Limited, I like it. All right, Batter Shield Warrior, another Boast. Okay, cool. We're going strong with the boasting. All right, 3 mana, 2/2, pretty bad. You can pay 2 mana, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So obviously you do want to go wider with this, is nice, and it does affect itself. There's a lot of things that would take other creatures you control, and it's really not so exciting, but this one includes itself. Nice little thing there. Not great though, just has an extra little combat trick, like sure you gotta be attacking and you gotta kind of throw everything in the way. I really don't think this is a fantastic card. I would say in limited sense, probably pass on it, try something else if you can, just to get better stats, because if you're always going to be playing these boasting things, you're going to be playing behind often, because they sacrifice stats for the ability to have something you can activate later on. And unfortunately, if you're sacrificing stats, but you have to attack, then there's a little anti-synergy there. That's why, at least with the Braggart, like it gets a counter on it and it stays. Afterwards, you attack, you do some damage, and then your opponent could probably play some kind of board wipe. And since you don't have that permanent increase of stats like you would with, say, what is it, Unbreakable Formation, I believe it is, or whatever that actually put like counters on your creatures. Not so good. Standard, this might see play since you can definitely build a whole bunch of little dude and just be super aggressive, but I feel like red already just does that. Actually, Gruul does that a lot better. They just curve out so well these days, and they have like little guys that curve into big guys into 3 mana 5/5s. So, you know, 3 mana 2/2 that can buff your team versus the 3 mana 5/5. Yeah, not great. I know this obviously isn't a Gruul card, but as far as aggressive decks go, this is not really going to be competing with the top ones. Battlefield Raptor. You know how I said things aren't going to be competing with the top ones? This it's a very simple 1 mana 1/2 flyer with first strike. Suntail Hawk, like, you know, go ahead, eat your heart out, whatever. Power creep. I like this card a lot, actually. It's very, very simple, very straightforward for what it does. And limited, if you have a good amount of like auras or equipments, there's an equipment theme in this set, as well as a dwarf vehicle equipment, like kind of theme, sub-theme. It's interesting. Even token dwarves is like a thing. But beyond that, I do believe that this card's actually pretty good. Again, only if you can boost it up in limited, though. I wouldn't count on like this doing the whole 20 back and forth. But in standard, I think this card's really solid. I feel like we can absolutely see this card, have this card seeing some play. The reason why Healer's Hawk saw a lot of play, you know, a little few sets ago, was because it had lifelink. This one notably does not have that, and having flying and first strike like is okay. Like, you already have evasion, so being able to hit a little harder at first doesn't really do too much. Like, it's not a huge benefit. Like, having like flying and trample is okay, but still, like, you probably aren't going to have too many blockers anyway. But it is a very nice thing, and I think just a solid card. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw some standard play just in white weenies and such. I think this is pretty good, even though it's very simple. Sometimes simple is better. All right, Beskir Shieldmate. We have a 2 mana 2/1. When it dies, make a 1/1. Kind of boring. I mean, we already have like Hunted Witness, which is a 1 mana 1/1. We had it, it's not there anymore. That when it dies, make a 1/1. I don't think this is gonna see play in the aggressive white deck. I mean, it could potentially, but I think it's a little too slow for that. 2 mana 2/1 and then do that. Not so exciting. There are pretty good ways of dealing with, like, you know, little creatures. There's I won't say have to, but there's a decent amount of board wipes and just other creatures that block better. For 2 mana, you can get so much more than like this, plus a creature later on, so not a fan here. And limited, it's okay. If you have any sort of sacrifice thing that you're trying to work with, if you have like this, and well, Emerson Predator would be a 3-color thing because that's a Rakdos, and you get a Village Rites, but I wouldn't really count on this going too far. Maybe if you have like a warrior or a tribal thing going, this is actually a pretty decent card that way. If we see like a tribal, like mono white warriors or mono white, I don't know if humans has enough support, but maybe you have human warriors, human berserkers, who knows. Then this could see some play there. Otherwise, I think it's just slightly underpowered for what we want in standard. Standard's kind of very aggressive right about now, you know. Okay, Bound in Gold, 3 mana. You know, I said things are aggressive. Well, this is gonna help slow things down. Also, I just love the idea. There's so much gold laying around. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna encase you. Gold is your punishment. All right, so 3 mana, enchantment aura, enchant permanent. Worth noting that you can put this on literally anything that is on the battlefield, right? Cool. Enchanted permanent can't attack, block, or accrue vehicles, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. I believe that actually works with planeswalkers, because those are activated abilities. Yeah, absolutely they are. Yeah, so that's surprising. So at first this seems like, the first inclination is like, okay, this is the standard, like, you know, typical, you make a pacifism every set, and this is the pacifism. And while it is, the fact that it goes on any permanent and shuts them down unless it's like a land or elf, which is not in standard, that's pretty strong actually. This is like competing with Glass Casket, kind of. There's a decent number of things. What would it be? Is it Banishing Light? No, maybe it is Banishing Light, I don't know. The Theros one where you play it and you exile the thing while it's on the battlefield. Like, this is actually pretty solid. I like this a lot. And limited, definitely gonna take this. This is your white removal that just, you know, leaves it around, but the fact that it can't even use its abilities or crew a vehicle means it's basically useless unless for this, like, some kind of sacrifice fodder. And in standard, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this all play. Could even see playing like some kind of Yorian decks, like Esper would definitely play this card. Mono white could, maybe as like a sideboard card, I don't know. I think they would rather just want to, you know, go hard, go fast. But I wouldn't be surprised to saw it play. I would definitely say this is up there. Alright, Clarion Spirit, a 2-mana 2/2 Spirit. Spirit is relevant in, like, Historic, I believe. I think Historic Spirit is the thing. But otherwise, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white Spirit creature token with flying. In Limited, if you manage to, like, play this and then something else in the same turn, sure, play this and then a 1-drop if it's like turn 3, or, you know, turn 4, play a couple 2-drops, okay, I see the value there. Otherwise, I don't like these second spell a turn things. They tried these before in Eldraine, I believe, and didn't really quite get a whole lot of traction, didn't really get off the ground. Like, I see they're trying it again, I still don't think it's there. 2-mana 2/2 ultimately is what you got here. Sure, you can build your deck more so in, like, constructed to have a whole bunch of smaller CMC things, so you almost always play 2 cards a turn, provided you have, like, you know, the ability to refill your hand. But I'm going to quote Croaky's right here. Is it good in the early game? Yeah, it's okay. Is it good in the late game? No, it just spits out 1/1s. Okay, not good. Don't like it. Moving on. Code Spell Cleric, a 1-mana 1/1 with Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, if it was the second spell you cast this turn, put a 1/1 counter, because saying plus is difficult these days. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So notably, this has to be your second spell cast. This just says whenever you cast your second spell, whatever it is. Of course, this shouldn't be your second spell because it doesn't see itself as it, like, enters, because the casting the spell goes in the stack and then it actually enters the battlefield, and so it doesn't actually see that until it's in the battlefield, and then it details, right? But with this one, this has to be specifically the second spell cast, which is strange for a 1-drop. That you, like, it's a 1-mana thing you don't want to play on turn 1, unless you just want a 1-mana 1/1, sure. Again, I could see this, like, seeing some legitimate play if you do have that whole thing with the white. If we do go down to a white weenie, even white angels are usually like a higher CMC, but I could see, I can say, White Lifegain, I should say, because we still have Alseid, we still have Speaker of the Heavens, and this could fit in there decently. I think there's another, we have the bird, whatever, even though it's not Lifegain, it's still just a bird. You can probably throw something on it to give it lifelink and go crazy. Go nuts, right? But I could definitely see in Standard playing, like, turn 1, play a 1-drop, turn 2, play a 1-drop, plus this thing, turn 3, play an angel. Why not? If your first one of your other 1-drop things dies, maybe you can use the one that, like, buffs your dudes, who knows. But I do like that. In Limited, I would stay far away from this card. I don't think this is anywhere near the power level that's going to potentially see in Standard. And I do think White Weenies is a thing. I think that White's just not getting enough attention as, like, you know, a color here. I feel like there's a lot of potential that is somewhat untapped and that we're kind of getting into. They do still kind of get the shaft on this set, not gonna lie. Like, other colors get a whole lot more, but I feel like there's gonna be enough cards in the pool for White to at least make it to, like, tier 2. And plus, like, angels, like, or the Valkyries of the set, so I think it's gonna be okay. Speaking of getting the shaft, Divine Gambit is, like, the joke of the set. I'm just gonna say that right now. So 2 mana, sorcery, exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment an opponent controls, which basically just says not planeswalker, and I guess not land either. Not sure why they decided to do that, but whatever. And then that player may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. The fact that it actually just says your opponent and you can't use that as, like, a tinker, like, if it was like a tinker kind of thing, it would be insane if you could destroy your own things and then, like, just play your biggest thing. Oh my god, that'd be a deck, it'd be hilarious. It'd probably be very strong as well, turn 2 in the game. Yeah, that'd be a little big, but the fact that, like, unless you're playing some kind of weird Dimir thing when you're also, like, using, like, duress effects to take a look at your opponent's hand and either take threats out of it or just see, hey, the biggest thing they have is, like, this, you know, nonsense little 2-drop, they've been holding onto a land for the past 5 turns. I can just play Divine Gambit and get value on that. I don't think that's actually going to be worth it. It's like a card that's better in the late game when your opponent has fewer cards in hand, but at the same time, they have fewer cards, but they probably have more expensive cards if they played all the cheap cards early. There's no reason this has to be a sorcery. This is not Path to Exile, this is Path to Concede. Oh my goodness, just... Why? In Limited, you could probably throw this in your sideboard, and if your opponent tends to play out all the cards in their hand, maybe. But even then, no. Like, 2 mana, if it could target Planeswalkers, I would say it had a chance, okay? I would give it the potential there. but it can't. The only place I could see this seeing any play, which it shouldn't, by the way, but it could, is in a Doom Foretold deck, where you're using this to kill one of your opponent's threats and actively pull one more out of their hand to have them forcibly sacrificed to Doom Foretold. Actually sounds like it's kind of fun. Super memey and like definitely not a great idea, because if it has like some kind of big ETB effect, then that's not great. Also, the fact that it can't kill Planeswalkers, but your opponent can play a Planeswalker afterwards, kind of triggering. So, God. Limited, stay far away. In Standard, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna fail, but I'm gonna try. Okay, Doomscar! Okay, so this is where they're trying to make up for white being bad, and they're like, guess what? You get this. This card's fantastic. But is it enough? Only time will tell. Alright, so 5 mana. Destroy all creatures. Here's your board wipe. Here's your Wrath, your Kaya, Wrath of God, Kaya's Wrath, Armageddon, whatever. Well, let's see, I guess this is, lore-wise, Doomscars, so in Kaldheim there are the 10 realms, because, Norse mythology there's 9, but we're gonna do one better, we're gonna do 10 realms, oh my goodness! And Doomscars occur, like, the realms are kind of just orbiting, kind of floating around, I guess, I don't know. Floating around the world tree, they just exist in, kind of a dance, right? Of the dance, no. And when 2 of the realms, or more, I guess, collide, then a Doomscar is like what you call the interface of the collision there. So yeah, pretty chaotic. Usually it ends up in some battles being fought between the denizens of each realm. So yeah, definitely a scary place to be. So destroy all creatures. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the big thing here, Foretell, another mechanic. Here we go. We had Boast earlier on, but Foretell is coming up now. So what Foretell is, you can... The cost next to it is later with casting the card. You can pay 2 mana. Anytime during your turn, not during your opponent's turn at all, except certain cards let you do that. Always gotta make rules and then break them immediately, wizards? Come on, like, let me just get my head around a few things now. That's actually a good idea. But anyway, you can pay 2 mana, exile this card face down. Of course, you can take a look at it because you know what it is you cast. You foretold it, but your opponent can't see. It's a little guessing game, like, oh, what could it be? Of course, if you only have like 1 card, or if you're only running 4 of Doomscar as far as foretell cards in your deck, then you're telling them, I have a Doomscar, but it's going to be cheaper now. We'll see. But anyhow, so you do that. On a later turn, if it's an instant speed thing, you can cast it during your opponent's turn, provided that you foretold it during your turn. If it's a sorcery speed, you can foretell this and play it when your turn comes around again, but you can't do it the same turn. You cannot foretell a card and then cast it the same turn. But on a later turn, you play it for the foretell cost instead of the whole thing. So you see the foretell is 3. There's quite a few cards where you pay 2, and you're basically just paying like an investment on the thing. It's like, I'm going to pay this 2 right now, and then I'm going to pay, it's like an installment plan. I'm going to pay the full, like the remainder of the cost later. So total you pay 5 mana, but you break it up over 2 turns, which is pretty nice, especially for like a board wipe or something. Like, yeah, I'll just throw that out there. Considering there are very, very few things that interact with exiled cards, especially face down exiled cards. I don't know if there's anything. Like, obviously not in Standard, but even like in the history of Magic, is there anything? I don't know. I don't think so. Foretelling kind of keeps your cards safe, even though you might be kind of forecasting, hey, this is probably a Doomscar, so watch out for it. Maybe just the threat of that being a Doomscar means your opponent won't play too many threats, and you might get some more turns that way. Maybe you foretell something else that's not a Doomscar, and your opponent thinks it is, and then they kind of hold back, even though it was just some random little nonsense thing that didn't matter at all. Mind games, right? It does also keep it safe from any kind of discard effects. Croxa is still there, of course. There's always Duress things. Agonizing Remorse is still a card, so it does save it from the threat of those if you're playing against an opponent like that. But yeah, this card's fantastic. Being able to just invest 2 mana and then later on have a 3 mana board wipe, it's great. Even though your opponent might see it coming, what are they going to do? Not play creatures? Maybe. But then it's a good sideboard card too. Of course, I play mostly best of 1, so it's going to be a main deck card, but and of course in limited, like, play it. Just 10 out of 10 would play again. Doomscar Oracle. Oh, it's another foretell card though, so it's nice to see. So a 3 mana 3/2, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, gain 2 life. I find that useless. 3 mana 3/2 is not anything I want to see. Again, the foretell though, so you can pay 2. to exile it, and then pay 1 to cast it later on. Another thing to note is that the casting timing for it is the same as the regular card. So if this was an instant, if this creature had flash, you could play it during your opponent's turn. It doesn't, so you just have to play it during your own turn. Even though you can foretell your card at instant speed on your turn, you cannot cast the card at any unusual time. Make sense? Yeah. So essentially you're paying 3 mana to get a 3/2. Alright, I mean, it does make it easier to do your 2 cast a turn to trigger its ability, because if you foretell it first, then you'll have to pay 1, so you play this for 1, then you play something else. So it's pretty cheap to like kind of throw out there. And you can, you know, foretell this, and your opponent thinks it's a Doom's card, but actually it's just a 3/2. That being said, I think this card's useless. I don't want to see this. I don't think it's going to see play at all. I don't know. Low rating, poor choices. Cleric, they tried to make the party thing a thing. They do have a good amount of shapeshifters in this set. This is one of the 10 realms is actually a realm of shapeshifters, so that does help the party mechanic. Fulfill your, you know, warrior, rogue, cleric. I think there's one more. Ranger, elf, druid, archer. I don't know, but that being said, though, I really don't like this card. So enough. It's just nonsense. Giant Ox. Oh my god, the flavor though. There's an artifact later on, and it just fits so well together. They were designed for each other. 2 mana 0/6 can crew vehicles using his toughness rather than his power. So this thing is a house. There's an artifact later on. I think it does it cost 3 or does it cost 2? I don't know exactly how much it costs, but it's a crew 6. Then it's like it's definitely front loaded. It's like a 5/3 or a 6/3 or something. I don't know. And it gives you mana. And the whole thing is that it's a plow. Like the vehicle's a plow. So flavor wise, marvelously on point. The Ox can crew the plow, right? Aside from that, we have a decent number of vehicles coming up here. There's a few that are actually not bad, but their crew cost, they're not bad because their crew cost is pretty low. I mean, it's not like we're gonna have Parhelion 2 and making it come back anytime soon. So I don't believe that's like much to look at, but it doesn't have like, it's really noting this does not have Defender, right? So if you manage to buff this at all, it can get some damage in there. Of course, you're not going to do any Ox Tribal. Maybe you are. And Limited, don't play this card. It's just a wall, and walls don't really win games too much. You're gonna fly over it, and you're like, oh man, the Ox is gone. If your opponent, like, the best thing your opponent can do is waste removal on this. Or the best thing for you to have your opponent do. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. But otherwise, like, this might buy you a turn at the most. But yeah, in Limited is useless. In Standard, it's hilarious. Oh god, I don't think it's gonna work though. I can't see it. Even though there's like the potential for the explosive, oh, we play this, you play the plow, you play a big thing because it gives you mana, and you just ramp into stuff. Like a white ramp is weird. Oh, it's weird. I don't think this is gonna work. But it's funny. So basically 0 to 5 in both things. But 5 out of 5 mean potential. Alright, 4 mana, 3/4, Glorious Protector. It's a flash flyer thingy. You can foretell. There's no reminder text on this one still. You can foretell this card, and when it enters the battlefield, you may exile a number of non-angel creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield. So, kind of like a bit of a worse off Restoration Angel. It's different, but it has those kind of vibes. 4 mana, 3/4 flash flyer. I mean, it's you can't dismiss the similarities between this and Restoration Angel. Again, just as a reminder, foretell is always pay 2 mana to exile it face down, and then the cost next to the foretell keyword there is how much you have to pay to cast it from exile. And it's nice that it has flash, so that means you can foretell it during your turn, and then as soon as your opponent's turn comes around, like, you know, as soon as you say okay and go ahead, then you can flash it in. You don't have to wait until it comes back around to your turn again for the foretell kind of casting restriction. So for the most part, like, this is nice. You can just throw it as a blocker, pretty good there. You can do it as a way to counter board wipes, even though it's a little expensive because, you know, Broodmoth sees like no play, and that's also a board wipe counter. But for the fact that you can potentially have it cost 3, I think that's actually enough. Another thing Crokey says, because guess what? I like to watch his videos. He seems like he's a pretty good guy. He plays pretty well. He seems to know what he's talking about, you know? But he has a command in his chat, exclamation moth, and it's that Midnight Reaper costs 3. Some other card, I forget what it is, costs 3, but the Luminous Broodmoth costs 4. Therefore, 3 mana is okay for something that, you know, kind of board wipe protection, I guess, to a degree. 4 mana is too much. So the fact that this can cost 3, I think, is actually going to put it in a very nice spot. You can just flash it in as a blocker. You don't have to foretell it. You can just play it as a 4 mana 3/4 flash flyer. There's nothing wrong with that. It could have literally just been that, and it would have been like fringe, almost playable because of the angel thing, but you probably find something better. But it would have been like, okay, like the last card you choose. It could have been a sideboard card against aggro to flash it in there and block a creature. Versus now it has this other effect on top of things. Yeah, it's pretty good. My goodness, you could even see this in like kind of Yorion decks as like flash it in, block something, know this is gonna die, but exile, like, you know, other creatures. Although they don't have to be like a creature-based Yorion deck, which is weird. But maybe you can make that work. So yeah, definitely some solid stuff here. In limited, this card's fantastic. Are you kidding? This card's amazing. Even just as a 3 mana 3/4 flyer, it's great. It's great. Play it in limited, play it in standard. Love the card. Angels are gonna do things. I don't know. Don't count on angels getting there. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I can put words together. I can also have a sip. They're trying to get those brain juices flowing because apparently they're not. The viscosity is high today. All right. I wish they had that as like a weather forecast thing. It's like, yeah, dew point, here we go, 15% humidity, and viscosity for the day is medium. It's like, okay, cool, I can move through my day at a medium pace. Whereas if it was a high viscosity, it's going to be a slog, really. Leave like 10 minutes early to work, you know, whatever. Plan to get stuff done ahead of time because it's gonna take a while. This day is gonna drag on forever. All right. Okay, so 6 mana 3/6 Vigilant Cat with Foretell. Really nothing to say here. It's kind of boring. It's just you can have a Foretell card here, so there's another thing to show that. But otherwise, I don't know what you're doing here. God's Hall Guardian. There, I'll say the name of the card. Nonsense. Moving on. Goldmaw Champion. 3 mana 2/3 with Boast. You can pay 2, tap target creature. So this is you're probably gonna do this like on your declare attackers before your opponent declares blockers to basically give it that, you know, whole it's usually a red mechanic where, you know, this attacks like target creature can't block this turn or whatever. So that's not bad. It's worth noting you can also do it afterwards. If for whatever reason you attack, your opponent doesn't block with a certain creature because maybe they can't or they didn't want to, you can tap it and then do things involving that. I don't know. If the creature has an activated ability or like a tap ability, you can force them to activate it if they want to or not. I don't like it. Don't like it. It's not that good. In limited, this is okay. Just as a 3 mana 2/3, it's pretty mopey there, but if your opponent only has a few big creatures they're planning on working with, then sure. Also worth noting, you can only do this during your turn, because it has to be if you attack this turn, only one gene, right? So you can't attack during your opponent's turn, at least not yet. Not that I'm aware of. So this is not like what was that? The rune guy? The sigil. This isn't like a honor guard, I guess it is, where, you know, tap my creature to attack your creature, to tap your creature. Beanstalk. Killer? Giant killer. Oh my goodness, that took way too long to loop back around to the thing. This is not giant killer, giant slayer, whatever it's called, where you can keep your opponent's creature tapped. This is an aggressive card. So aggressive 2/3, not good. Not gonna good, bad, get it out of here. You could barely play this if you have like some kind of dwarf synergy, maybe any limited thing, but otherwise get out of here. Helvar, god of battle. We have a god. The Norse gods, on point with the Norse mythology, are not actually indestructible. You know, they're not super crazy immortal. They are, well, I mean, you can kill them, but they live like super long. I don't know all the details about it, but I know that they can die. No spoilers. Okay, cool. I think there was like, is it too soon? It's always too soon. Okay, so even though it happens in like the first 10 minutes, even like maybe 5 minutes. Anyway, so 4 mana 4/4. Legendary god, and creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. Okay, Sure, that's nice. Nothing wrong with that. Still a 4 and a 4/4. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. So you can move an equipment or an aura to something else. It already has to be equipped, so you can't do any kind of like colossal hammer shenanigans or like you avoid paying the equip cost. No, it's equipped, otherwise you can't do it. And you can just kind of shuffle things around, like one thing around a turn. Not huge on that second ability. Although if this card is busted, it's probably gonna be like something due to that. If you play a Boros deck, you do that with the Fervent Champion, because that has like a reduced cost, so you can like put something on the champion, or you can, let's see, pre-combat or at the beginning of combat, use the ability to move something to like a bigger creature, like move an Embercleave to a big thing, and then after combat, if you want to protect your champion, you can move it over because of reduced cost there. I don't know. It's gonna be a strange thing to figure out. But that first ability is kind of nice. It's not super relevant because auras largely revolves around just having like little 1/1 things. I don't know if all that glitters. I think all that glitters is still in standard. Yeah, it's like a. Isn't that like Eldraine? It sounds Eldraine. See the Eldraine or Theros, which means yes, it's still in standard. So you could definitely see this seeing some play in like Orzhov auras, mono white auras. Like I don't see why not. Ignore the equip thing, just have the auras. But we're completely ignoring a whole phase to this card. What's the little equipment at the bottom? So there are some cards. There's a few cycles or whatever. See a little triangle thingy up there? That means this is the front of this card. A little reminder thingy over there. That's telling you there's a backside to it, which is, look at that ass. Oh my god, Halvar, you have a very sharp ass, don't you? All right. So the fact there's two triangles means this is the backside to the card when you flip it over. So while this is in your deck and on the battlefield and in your hand and everything, this is Halvar. God, no, hold on, I'm missing something. While it's in your hand, yes. I think while it's in your deck, it actually counts as both. Okay. Because I'm having a hard time. I don't know. I forgot some of the stuff, but this is Halvar God of Battle. But then you can also play it on the other side for Sword of the Realms. This is the sword that can cut through the cosmos itself. This was the joke when it was first revealed. It was like the first card revealed, I think, for Kaldheim. 2 mana, get +2/+0, has vigilance. Yeah, Cosmos really hurting after that one. So at first it's kind of like a joke, like okay, whatever, +2/+0 vigilance, sure. When a creature dies, put it back in your hand. Remember, this is on the back of a pretty legitimate, like very reasonable card to see. There's nothing wrong with this guy at all. I definitely think this is like in limited bomb, insane. Pull it in standard. I think this card's gonna be fantastic as well. I think this card is amazing. I'm not even gonna lie. I think this is great. Sword of the Realms. The fact that it's 2, if it was like 4 mana thing, no, get out of here. 2 mana is so cheap to have the option to play this. It's the design is beautiful. I love it. I think this is gonna be an absolutely like powerhouse in standard. Let's see. So +2/+0 vigilance, not bad. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Solid stats for sure. You could do this, and then is there anything that has like a relevant tap ability? Not that. Nothing really comes to mind. I mean, I guess, well, Priest of Forgotten Gods out because Ravnica is gone. So I don't know, but we'll figure something out. Otherwise, just good to have vigilance, solid blocker. And then the fact that if it dies, the creature comes back to your hand. I feel like that's the more relevant ability here, more impactful thing. That you're still gonna have the sword there. Play a creature, equip for 2. Okay. Oh, you killed it? Okay. Back to my hand. Play it again, equip for 2. Like equip for 2, cast for 2. Super good. Love the card. Top tier. Hey, look, Invoke the Divine. That looks very familiar. It looks almost like I found a card that just has some nice artwork. Okay. You can probably hear the clicking. I really like the mechanical, just, you gotta know that you push the button. I had like a Apple, like, keyboard for a little while, and it's just, the buttons are so soft, it's like, and like, did I push it? I don't know. I can't tell. Is it in yet? Anyway, it's the key pressed in. 3 mana instant. This is like a reprint from, I don't know if it's even in standard already or not. Destroy artifact or enchantment, gain 4 life. Just, sideboard card. It's okay. It's not great. I think 2 mana is really want to be like disenchant or whatever. Limited, don't play this. Standard, maybe a sideboard spot or 2. Maybe not. Not very exciting. Iron Verdict. This is your typical white deals damage to a creature that's tapped spell. Like I don't know, Gideon's Punch to the Face. This is it looks like Domri, but it's not. I don't think it is. You'll raid nothing but Mist and Istfell. That's gotta be Is that Dome? I mean, Dome Raid. I know it's spelled differently, but still, I think they know what they're doing here. I think they know exactly what they're doing. Honestly, if Dome showed up in Kaldheim, wouldn't be too surprised. They could definitely get away with the whole Viking thing. Anyway, so 3 mana, deal 5 to a tap thing. Unlimited, this is fine. You can foretell it as well. And standard, no, get this out of here. This is terrible. Even if you make it cost 1 mana, you're still investing 3 mana into this thing, and I don't like that at all. It's ugh. We never play these cards. We don't play these cards. We do not play these cards, right? But unlimited is fine. It's a kill spell. It's good. Kaya's Onslaught, 3 mana. You can foretell it though. Instant speed, tap target, not tap. Sorry, I'm just thinking about tapping these. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains double strike until end of turn. That's a nice little combat trick. You know what? For 1 mana, I like to say that if anything costs 0 mana, it's usually insane and going to be played in every format. If it costs 1 mana, keep an eye on it. This is not that case. I feel like this is still bad. But being able to just give double strike and a little bonus for 1 mana, I think that's a pretty neat combat trick. I think that the main reason you would run Boros is for the Embercleave. Maybe now you just try to run like a few of these and just get that one good punch in there. Granted, I think there's a saga that can actually have you search your library for an equipment or Halvar, because it's, you know, themed for this, so that you take Halvar in order to get Sword of the Realms, because in your deck, you don't see the back side of Halvar, you only see the creature side, so you can't search for an equipment and get Sword of the Realms. But I think this card's actually pretty legitimate. It's going to be not as good in limited. I feel like in standard though, if you're like kind of ramping up to a thing there, I think this card's pretty nice. I like it. I wish it was a +1/+1 counter, obviously, because that would definitely put it like over the top, insane, love playing it, but I see 0 things wrong with this card. I think this is definitely going to see some play. I will count on that. I will stand by that statement. All right, Master Scald. Looks a little rough around the edges here. 5 mana, 4/4. Enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, return an artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. No, don't like it. It's too much for what it does. You have to exile. Well, you don't have to, but in order to get the effect to do anything, you have to exile a creature, which okay, it's kind of a random cost there, and then you get an artifact or enchantment. No, just run multiples, I guess. Obviously you can't rely on that in limited, but don't play this in limited. Here we go, moving on. Rally the ranks. Oh my god, Halvar is here to bestow some of his power. You see, it's so strong because they're all looking at the backside of Halvar, which is where some of the power lies, so naturally they're just inspired by the cheeks. Rally the ranks. 2 mana enchantment. Enter the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Notably, because again, I said in this set there are a lot of changelings, things that have the changeling, like, you know, keyword there, which are all creature types at all times, so they will always get the buff. All your changelings, no matter what kind of deck you're playing, will get the buff from this. So now we have to worry about tribal things. Is warriors a thing? Could be warriors, could be humans, could be angels. There's a lot of like, are there angel warriors? Probably. I don't know. There's decent overlap between those 3 things, which are a lot of things you're seeing in white. There's a few spirits, but I think there's like spirit warrior and stuff, so you would call warrior first because there are more cards in that creature type that you want to play. So this card is fantastic. I'm sorry, I think it's like an anthem effect. I think it is. Honor of the Pure. I don't know exactly what the card is I want to compare this to, but this is fantastic. This is amazing. In like a mono white thing, you can definitely, even, it doesn't have to be mono white, it can be white and red. You can definitely have plenty of warriors there, or humans. I can see humans being a thing. Yeah, this card's insane. In limited, you could probably maybe take a decent number of shapeshifters and like pick this card early so you can actually try to build tribal, or if you are in white already and you're building your pool, you're putting your deck together aware that this card might show up, then yeah, this card is amazing. Redane, Dane, God of the Worthy. There you go. This name no longer has meaning to me now. 3 mana, 2/3, little flip double face modal card there. Look at that. It's another one of the gods. So I guess it's like the big fancy, I don't know, Valkyrie or whatever. This is the Valkyrie that's in charge. See, flying, vigilance, snow lands your opponent's control, enter the battlefield tapped. Yes, this is our first reference to snow now. So Snow basics are back. We also have snow duels and snow mana is back, I should say, in standard. And one of the big issues with snow in the past, if you're playing modern or if you're playing legacy or vintage or whatever, is that there are certain cards that you can only cast with snow, but there aren't any cards that you specifically can't cast with snow mana. Like, snow is just in addition to. Like, your mana is like, by the way, this is also that. Like, you know, square, rectangle, like, you can just do that. So, there weren't... This is the first card printed, I should say, that actually punishes you for running snowlands. Otherwise, you would just always run snowlands, because suddenly the pool of cards that you could be playing is larger. Just even from your opponent's perspective, now they have to be worried about a few other cards, a few niche things. Even if you're not playing them, if you don't run snow mana, then they know they don't have to play around X card, whereas they might have this card, who knows? So this is the only card, I believe, in Magic that does something to stop you from playing to, you know, to punish you for playing snow for no good reason, and snowlands enter tapped. You couldn't even just say snow permanents, like, non-creature spells your opponents cast with CMC 4 or greater cost 2 more to cast. I mean, that second part is decent. I guess if you're playing against like an Esper Doom kind of thing, because Doom, you know, is 4 and their big removals. Well, Elspeth's Nightmare costs 3, so it doesn't really work against that, but it slows down Doom and Yorion, and Elspeth Conquers Death. And there's probably something else that I'm forgetting, but that's somewhat relevant, but otherwise, like, I guess it, like, kind of stops ultimatums as well, and it does slow down the henge, but it's okay for a 3-mana 2/3 body. Like, don't get me wrong, in Limited, you take this card anyway, but also noting in Limited, you do have to, if you want to play any Snowland, you do have to draft them, or you have to get them in your pool. You can't just pull them from the lands that you add to your deck afterwards. You do actually have to acquire them during the event. During the card selection process, I'll say that. Okay, what's the other side of this card? Because this is kind of mopey. I'm not really following this. Okay, so we have Valkamira, Protector's Shield, a 4-mana legendary artifact. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent 1 of that damage. So little 1 toughness things or 1 power things no longer have anything at all. They just glance off like, oh, look at that, oh, it's nonsense. Oh, so yes, I've had this back in the old country. I don't know what I'm saying. Whenever you or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless they pay 1. So a little tax on there, a little kind of a little small bit of protection. Don't count on the second bit at all. The first line I actually am a little intrigued by. The fact that if your opponent goes wide, it's almost like a pseudo Revenge of Ravens effect. Not as strong because your opponent obviously didn't take any damage from it, but that did see a little bit of play when the big thing was, I think it was like in Pauper actually, because it was a common, wasn't it? Where you punish your opponent for going wide. Like, you know, you in standard there's not really so much. You do usually have creatures that have more, even in like red, I guess, aside from Annex tokens, like the little satyr things. They do still hit pretty hard, I guess, and like your opponent isn't gonna have a huge board of like 1/1s by the time you play this on turn 4. They're gonna have maybe 1, maybe 2 1 power things, and then it's gonna have 3 power and 4 power. And they have Annex, who's gonna have like 6 power, and then Torbrand's gonna come down. And you're like, how does that actually work? This is not that great. The more, like, I liked it at first. But the more I thought about it, the less I actually liked it. And the fact that that's legendary, so you can't stack them. I mean, I guess that's better for the game, because if you could, then that'd be hilarious. But otherwise, no. Not so exciting. Slightly more exciting, but still, the snow hate, the single snow hate card they printed is just so far under expectations. It's, oh god. It's still okay in Limited, though, because it's a 3-mana 2/3 flyer Vigilant Flyer. Alright, Resplendent Marshal. Ah, look at what you could have been! 3-mana 3/3 Angel Warrior. See, Angel and Warrior, both very good types. For that, Rally the Ranks or whatever thing. I think it's called Rally the Ranks, yeah. Absolutely nailed it. Okay, cool. When it enters the battlefield or dies, you may exile another creature from your graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control other than this thing that shares a creature type with that card. So, it's difficult to get that effect to go off on curve, because you have to have either your 1 or your 2-drop die, and if you have your 2-drop die, it's likely that you attacked and then you played this card, so you're going to buff your things after combat. Not ideal, and even if it was that, so you have a 1 or 2-drop die, and then you buff what? You have to have, like, another creature out, or some way to discard, or some kind of sacrifice thing. I guess ideally discards, so you don't actually lose a creature in combat, you have to steal everything on the board. It's tough to get this to work on curve. That being said, playing a 3-mana 3/3 flyer that when it dies can still buff your team is fantastic. It's amazing. I guess they just did that so like in the later game they don't have to like wait for the effect to go off. Goddamn, the fact that this can trigger twice too is so good. Definitely 100% like 9 out of 10. If it had a little more like early game playability, it'd be great. Not 10 out of 10, but the 3-mana 3/3 flyer is great. Yeah, obviously in limited this is insane. Fantastic card, amazing. Angel Warrior typing is great. Even though it doesn't buff itself, you're not going to be putting this in a deck that does not revolve around other Angels and Warriors. Those are like 2 very relevant creature types. Revitalize, reprint, pretty cool. I like it, just having it in there. I mean, I used to see some play in control decks, now it sees 0 play in any decks, so don't play this in limited as thinking as something like, oh, I'm just going to have like 1 less card in your deck. Sure, this is literally like you have a solid 39 cards, you're like, there's nothing else to put in my 40. I don't want any more cards. Sure, put that in there. Maybe, otherwise, I'm almost be happy just playing a land. Righteous Valkyrie. This is Croaky's, because I talk about him. This is actually his reveal card, which got spoiled the first week that the spoiler started coming out. And then he revealed it like a week ago. And he was like, there are some criminals in the Magic community that reveal cards before they're supposed to. But anyway, 3-mana 2/4 flyer. So we had a 3-mana 3/3. Solid. 3-mana 2/4. Still pretty solid. Angel Cleric has the Angel type, not the Warrior. That's okay. Whenever another Angel or Cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to the creature's toughness. So it's worth noting that it's not the power, not the attack ability, it's the health of it. So this having 4, it doesn't trigger off itself, obviously, but if you play another one, like it doesn't hurt you for playing multiples, it's actually pretty good there. As long as you have at least 7 more life than your starting total, creatures you control get +2/+2 is insane! That's an insane ability. Buffing everything twice is amazing. It's kind of actually bonkers. Don't know if you can get this to work in whatchamacallit, in limited, but even if you just had like a few, don't play this card just because you pulled this card. Don't do it. Do it. It's a trap. But god damn, this card's amazing. And standard, this is absolutely going to see some play, no doubt about it. This is going to be in like the best of the white decks. See how I put a little caveat there, like, well, if white decks are good, this will be good. See, you gotta be careful. I talk like a lawyer. I gotta work on my legal hair. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, this card's fantastic. Even just 3-mana 2/4 flyer that could gain you some life is amazing card. Amazing. Don't need to defend it because it's already so good. All right, Rune Forge Champion, and this is our first introduction to runes, or at least the first mention of it. I like how they revealed this card, and then it took like, I don't know, at least a couple weeks. Wasn't like, I don't think it was a month. I'm just exaggerating on that one, but it took so long for them to tell you what the hell a rune was. 3-mana 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library and or graveyard for a rune card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and sure, you shuffle your library as standard stuff. You can pay 1. Worth noting that this is just pay 1 generic mana. This is not having its cost reduced by 1. This is not 1 like white mana or whatever. This is literally whatever the rune is, you only pay 1 mana of any color. So it can have a CMC of like black or blue. There's 1 for each color, so it could be the blue rune, but now you play this in your mono white deck and you still only pay 1, so that's cool. So it is worth noting that they already, I'm pretty sure they do cost 1, don't they? They cost 2. Oh, okay, so it actually is a reduction in the total mana you invest in it, as well as making it super easy to play. You can tap any land and do it. Convenient, right? But that's very, very nice. Now the runes give little kind of middling effects. All of them have when they enchant permanent, when they enter the battlefield. Okay, let me just this card I think is okay. I don't think runes are gonna be really like great. The paying 1 thing is good, and they all do replace themselves in the sense that when they enter the battlefield, you draw a card. So I think like pay 1 mana, throw something on the board, draw a card is nice. They are enchantments, so constellation effects will still go off. They still count towards your devotion. I actually think this card's pretty nice, even if you just want to use it to cycle through cards, just to like, you know, search a rune, pay 1 mana, play the rune, a little buff here and there, draw a card. In white, it's weird because it's like white card draw, but yeah, I definitely want to make a rune deck and just see how far we can push the damn thing. I think it'll be okay. And I think it also could be a very good aura to work with Halvar, because just equip something, or put an aura on something, okay, it gets a little buff, but now it has double strike. Right, so I like this guy. In limited, I wouldn't take this card in a million years because it's basically a 3 mana 2/3. But in standard, I'm gonna work with them. Now we get to talk about the actual rune. Like I said, there's one for each color, so I had to skip forward one to make sure that there's another rune and I'm not making things up. 2 mana, aura rune, just aura, you know, whatever. Enchanted permanent, worth noting that you can put this on any permanent. Land, planeswalker, another rune. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. If it is a creature, in this case it has lifelink. If it is an equipment, then it gains the ability to give lifelink when the thing's equipped. So I would almost never equip an enchanting equipment with this. That'd be very, very strange. I wouldn't do that. Why are we doing that? Oh, because you can move it around afterwards if the creature dies. Yeah, but don't. There we go. You can put this on a vehicle, even while it is not crewed, because it just is enchant permanent, and then when it becomes a creature, when you crew it, then it will have the buff. In this case, lifelink, another one that's like death touch, I think another one's like trample maybe. So actually the red one's haste. So that's worth noting. So yeah, just nice little things there. Not a whole lot going on with them, but I think in, you know, a mono white auras deck where you just happen to also draw cards, that'd be pretty nice. I think it's pretty decent. This one in particular, not a huge fan, but because it is white and you're probably playing this in a white deck, it does get the bonus of if you draw it, it's not dead. Because if you draw the blue one and you're just playing white, then good luck. You can't cast it until you get your Runeforge champion. Good luck with that one. Alright, Search for Glory. 3 mana, knock something over. Snow sorcery. So this is the first time we are seeing snow cards that are not permanents. In the past, they had all been snow permanents, you know, creatures or artifacts or whatever. This is the first time actually putting them on non-permanent spells. Interesting. So let's see. Search your library for a snow permanent card, legendary card, or saga. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Shuffle your library. You gain 1 life for each snow. That's the symbol for snow mana spent to cast this spell. So while you can, while you can pay, you know, whatever white you can regular mana to cast this thing, you get a bonus if you spent snow mana on it. Which, considering the only hate card is Redain, whatever, where they come in tapped. If you're trying to make a snow deck, why not have all snow lands? You know, like it's a very, very simple thing to do. Now, about the actual ability here, the tutoring, there are a lot of sagas that they released with this set to go with the whole like Viking storytelling sort of thing. So I like that. But I'm just gonna mention something here. So Idyllic Tutor is a 3 mana tutor to get any enchantment from your deck. In the format where Fires of Invention was insanely broken and basically let you like double your mana for the turn and just cast things and go nuts. The 4 mana in the format, or 4 mana enchantment was playing enchantment on turn 4 was like the entire deck, and you had a tutor for any enchantment that cost 3 mana, so you could perfectly curve into 3 into 4. No one played that card because it just wasn't worth it. This card's not worth it. Moving on. Okay. Shepherd of the Cosmos, a 6 mana 3/3, and back then I thought it was going to be great. I thought, yeah, we'll definitely see some play because, you know, you guarantee that your 4 mana on turn 4 you hit fires. No, it's all not play. Okay, Shepherd of the Cosmos, 6 mana 3/3, feels bad. Flyer still feels bad. When it enters the battlefield, return a permanent card with CMC 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's kind of like a little Titan-esque ability. No, you can foretell it to make it 4 mana 3/3, essentially. No, this card is a whole lot of nope. It's a whole lot of investment for nothing happening. So yeah, 0 to 5, both formats. Moving on. Sigrid, God Favored, 3 mana 2/2, flash, first strike, protection from god creatures. That's weird. That's weird. For the record, Theros gods, the devotion gods, are not creatures unless you have devotion to them, so... What, Keranos, I guess? I don't know. If any of them, like, can target this thing, then... let's see, I suppose... Yeah, so they don't have protection until you actually have enough devotion. So you couldn't target it. Oh my god, this is weird. If you're playing Heliod, right, and you have enough devotion for it to be a creature, you can't use Heliod's ability on this because it's protection from it. But if you don't have enough devotion, then you can do it. That sort of thing. Strange, don't worry about it. It's like almost never going to matter in that context. 3-mana 2/2 flash for a strike, basically. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to one target attacking or blocking creature until this leaves the battlefield. Well, that's a nice little bit of little sentence there, isn't it? So you throw it in there. It's flash and first strike, so you're going to play it in combat. It's going to block pretty effectively. It definitely trades up to like a 3/2 or something. And then another attacking or blocking creature, regardless of size, can be huge, can be the biggest creature. Can be a big old Elder Gargaroth for all I hear. Is gone until this character leaves. That's fantastic. That is amazing. Sure, it might die next turn, but not only do you basically block 2 attacks, you kind of sort of kill 2 creatures. At least one of them should die. Yeah, definitely 10 out of 10. Amazing, unlimited. Very, very nice and standard. The only thing is that white is kind of struggling still, although I think it's going to make it somewhere. Warriors. Warrior is good. Okay, Spectral Steel, 2 mana aura, enchanted creature. Gets +2/+2. You can pay 2 and exile from your graveyard, turn on the target or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. The only reason I could see this seeing any play is if you're doing this with, like, obviously, mono white auras. I mean, it's not terrible because you can get all like glitters back and then, you know, get your huge buff thing again, or you can get like a. Well, you don't really have the maul, the Skyclave maul, whatever the big hammer thing that comes out and equips itself immediately. That's probably not going to go in the graveyard because it's an equipment. But it's not bad. In particular, like, you can use this to get a rune back. I see like the nonsense, you know, freaking control deck potential. I can use this to get a rune back to play the rune again to draw a card. You can. You certainly can. Limited is fine. Actually, it's really not bad. If you have a few more auras or equipments, yeah, totally. In standard, maybe like a 1 of, if that, but I don't know. Think of it more like a Sentinel's Eyes kind of thing. Alright, Stalwart Valkyrie, but worse Sentinel's Eyes. Worse Sentinel's Eyes. So 4 mana, 3/2, you can pay 2 and exile a creature instead of paying this thing's mana cost and flying. So it can be a 2 mana, 3/2, as it stands as a 4 mana, 3/2. But can you play this for 2 mana? You have to play a 1-drop, have it die, and then you can pay it on 2. You can play for 2. I don't like your chances there, or have some way to get a creature in the graveyard. Like, if Stitcher Supplier was an option, sure. If that was some way, if Shriekhorn was an option, if Dredge was a thing, okay, I could see that. But no. Later on in the game, getting a 2 mana 3/2, while it's nice, it's not enough of a payoff. The fact that it doesn't have any other thing, it's just 3/2 flyer. No. And what's going to happen then later is if this card sees a decent amount of play, is your opponent will specifically not kill your 1-drop on turn 1, so you can't play this on turn 2. And then what? Maybe they kill it on turn 2. You're like, you have a creature in the graveyard on turn 2, and you get to play this on turn 3, but like, stop. Get out of here. Get out of here. Stormheim Courser. 3 mana 2/2 flyer. Jeez, you know, I wanted to do this in less than an hour, and it's definitely going to be over an hour. I apologize. Alright, flyer. Artifact and enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. This is not exciting at all. This is a 3 mana 2/2 flyer. A little reduction there, doesn't really do a whole lot. A good thing to note here is anything with 2 toughness is basically useless because Bone Crusher Giant is one of the best cards in the format, and it has just a shock on a big old body. So yeah, anything that can get stomped will get stomped, and this will certainly, like, big old foot out of the sky stomp. Okay, Starnheim Unleashed. Is this the last one? Nope. Starnheim Unleashed. 4 mana for Mythic. Look at that. Create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. So basically Sarah Angel. 4/4 Angel Flying Vigilant thing. If it was foretold, create X of those tokens instead. 4 mana, make a 4/4. Flying Vigilant thing. Okay, fine, not bad. And limited, by the way, this card's fantastic. It's actually like, it's good to play it on curve. It's good to play it later as a mana sink. It's amazing. So limited is great. Standard, this competes with the Maria's Call pretty well. So let's see. So you can foretell it, and then you pay XX and white, which is a very strange mana cost to consider. But basically, minimum, you pay 3. It's going to be 1/1 white, so 3 total, and you get 1 of them. So you get a slight reduction, but you have to pay 2 for the foretell, so not really. And then you go up every 2 more, so 3, 5, 7. You get 1, 2, and 3 angel tokens, respectively. It's interesting. So you can pay 7 and get 3 angel tokens, or you can just, and then have like the 2-minute investment, or you can just pay 7 and have Maria's Call make some angel tokens, and also have the ability to play a land. Yeah, this is just outclassed in like every way in Standard. I don't think it's going to see any play there. In Limited, though, again, fantastic. Play the card. Story Seeker, 2 mana, 2/2 lifelink. I mean, it's a cleric. It gains you life. Otherwise, it's useless. So probably 0 play in everything. Usher of the Fallen. Oh, 1 mana, 2/1 flyer. It's a Spirit Warrior. It's okay. It's fantastic. A 1 mana, 2/1 on its own could, like, what's that, like a Rescue Swiftclaw or something? Maybe not. I don't know exactly what the vanilla 2/1 is for 1 mana, but 1 mana, 2/1 with upside, where you can actually boast, you attack with it, and you can make a 1/1. That's fantastic. This card is actually bonkers. This is crazy. Granted, it's not going to blow out your opponent. I mean, that's not going to be like, you play this fine, I can see it. But, like, the fact that you can get a super solid 1-drop, and then if you miss, like, getting your 2 1-drops or a 2-drop, fine. I'll attack, I'll make a creature. If you played a 1-drop, this is going to kill it. If you didn't play a 1-drop, I got 2 damage in. It's a warrior, which is a very relevant creature type. This card's fantastic. This card's great. Even in Limited, it's pretty good. It's not as good because, again, it's going to be harder to get those synergies, but 10 out of 10. Lovely card. Valkyrie's Sword. 2 mana, and it's Standard, like I said, it's insane. Let's see. Enters the battlefield. Oh, so this is another thing similar to Living Weapon. These have the ability to, you can just play the equipment as a 2 mana, give something, play it for 2, equip for 3, equip creature gets +2/+1. Or you can pay, let's see, into the battlefield. So you have to pay the regular cost plus the other, in this case, 5. So for 7 mana, this comes in equipped to the creature. If you do pay that, you create a 4/4 white Angel Warrior creature token. You make it, like, you make one of these tokens, basically, right? Exactly the same stats there. And you throw this on it. So for 7 mana, you get a 6/5 Flying Vigilant Angel Warrior. Yeah, in Limited, this is actually really nice because you have the ability, all of these cards, all of these equipments that can make a body are good. In Standard, no, because it doesn't cheat out the fact that, like, you still have to pay the thing. Living Weapon, however it came down, it would come down with a germ token on it. Batterskull, like, come on, really. But this is very, very much not a Batterskull. So yeah, Limited, great. Standard, horrible. Valor of the Worthy. 1 mana aura, +1/+1. When a enchanted creature leaves the battlefield, make a little 1/1 spirit token with flying. Hey, that's not too bad. And auras is okay. +1/+1 for 1 mana. I'd rather actually just have, like, 1 mana 1/1 rather than not play that. So unless you're having any kind of aura synergy, this card's terrible. Yeah, in Limited it's okay because at least you get a flyer out of it. Maybe if you're playing more auras, you can do that and you can buff the flyer afterwards. But otherwise, I don't like it. Don't like it. Warhorn Blast. 5 mana instant speed. Creatures you control gets +2/+1 till end of turn. And you can foretell it for something cheaper. For 3 there. In Standard, I don't like this at all because you're gonna pay 2 mana. This is gonna be an aggressive deck, right? You're gonna go wide. You're gonna have to pay 2 to foretell this and then pay 3 later on. Whereas, I mean, I guess you could just use it like as a curve topper, 5 mana, attack with your board. But the foretell thing there is largely irrelevant because if you miss, like, having anything to do on turn 2, that feels really bad. And 2 mana in an aggressive deck where the top of your curve is usually like 4 mana, you're not often going to have 2 mana just floating around. You're going to have other creatures to play, other things to put on the board, not Warhorn Blast. In Limited, it has a similar issue. I like it a bit, but, usually board-wide, like, buffs for this kind of thing, little board-wide combat tricks, aren't actually doing too much. Usually Limited comes down to I have like a couple creatures that are getting there, and if you don't have the removal, I'm gonna win. So, not a huge fan. Especially because it could be like pay 5 mana for it. If this was 4 mana, maybe. It's 5 mana, no. Wings of the Cosmos, 1 mana instant, gets +1/+3, gains flying until end of turn, and untap it. In limited, this is fine. This is okay. You know, just basically protect something. You know, give it a bit of bite, let it block. You're probably gonna be blocking. Excuse me, there. Hashtag not Corona. You're probably going to be blocking your bonus Valkyrie or something, and you know, living to tell the tale. But they usually have vigilance, so you're gonna be like, well, now what do I do? I don't know. But maybe they attack other creatures you can get in afterwards. Who knows? In standard, you're not gonna be playing this card. Hey, and that's it. We're done. Just over an hour. Well, that took a little while, didn't it? Oh my goodness, it's whatever time it is. Insert local time here. But okay. So overall for white, some pretty good stuff. Usher of the Fallen is fantastic. I'm really leaning towards this white weenies kind of thing. A couple of the Halvar is fantastic. Sigurd's amazing. What else there? There's a couple angels. The one that buffs all your dudes is great. The one that gains life and then buffs all your dudes is great. Oh my goodness. Angels is a deck. Warriors is a deck. Angel Warriors, I guess, could be a deck. Doesn't really matter. They really did put a lot. Doomscar as well is great. See, this card is the one, as soon as this is the one where everyone's like joking about, like, okay, wow, they really, like, you know, didn't do anything for white this time. They're really slacking. Like, well, hold on though, we still have this card, and we have pushes like 15 buttons. This one's pretty good. Like, you know, Halvar. I like Halvar a lot. Like, there's some legit cards in this color, so don't sleep on white. That's okay. Without further ado, I gotta go make a review for the what is it? The blue cards next. Yeah, because there's Woo and then Berg. So as opposed to Tang. Space drink. Anyway, so thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry it took a little while. I'm going to try to talk a little bit faster the next time. Hopefully that'll actually get things done faster, as things do. So without further ado, thank you very much. Good night or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. But as always, good luck.